Hi guys, it's Angie with Fun Endeavors Tie-Dye Lab. Today I'm going to do a Shattuckite inspired geode. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that word right. I actually did Google pronounce or how to pronounce it so that I could get it right. I'm going to go ahead and tie the geode pattern, and to do that I'm going to find an area on the shirt where I'd like for the center of a geode to be. Then I'm actually going to use a washable marker to mark that area just so that I don't lose track of it. I don't do this for all of the geodes, but I do sometimes for the first one that I'm tying on a shirt. I pinched the center of that area that I drew on the shirt and then lifted the shirt up off of the table and slid my hand down to where I want the bottom or the outer rings of the geode to be. And that's where I'm going to begin tying. I think it is easier to get a more unusually shaped geode if you start tying from the outer rings into the inner rings. I think it ends up looking less like a bullseye. It's very easy to make things look perfect. It is actually almost harder, as far as I'm concerned, to make things look more random. And I really want random because nature is more random. It's not absolutely perfect. I'm also going to vary the amount of distance between the rings of the geode that I'm going to tie. And I'm going to continue roughing up my fabric as I'm tying my geode, pushing the center portion of the fabric in toward where I've been tying and just trying to keep it as messy as possible. Like I said, that gives more interesting folds and areas inside the geode. And then when I get down to the center portion, you can either just tie the geode as a single geode center, or you can actually take your sinew down between the fabric and split it into multiple centers. I will do both on this shirt. Some are going to have single centers and some are going to have multiple centers. Like I said, the more I mix it up and the more I make each geode individual or looking very unique, I think the cooler the shirt ends up looking. For this particular geode, I'm going to do 2 centers, and I've slowed the video down and zoomed in so that you can kind of see what I'm doing. I don't cut my sinew off at the end of the first geode center that I tie. I wind it back down the geode and go tie the second geode center before I cut it off. I'm going to continue this process on the shirt until I have as many geodes on the shirt as I want. I do try to be very mindful of where I'm placing the geodes. I try to avoid areas that would maybe be a little uncomfortable to wear if the geodes ended up in the wrong place. I think you know what I mean. To avoid this, I've noticed that I've kind of gotten in the habit of tying my first geode on the front of the shirt up on the shoulder portion of the shirt. That way, I'm sure I have one that's not ending up in the wrong spot. And then I'm a little looser with it on the back of the shirt because it really doesn't matter. I also kind of vary the amount of geodes that I put on a shirt. I don't put a specific amount on each shirt, and I try to vary the sizes of the geodes as well. I personally prefer fewer geodes and the geodes to be a little bit bigger. But I've seen people who do smaller geodes and put a whole bunch on a shirt, and I think those shirts look really cool too. So it's just a personal preference thing. By the way, I forgot to mention that I'm tying all these geodes with sinew. And the reason why I'm using sinew is because I want some definition lines. The sinew I'm using is an artificial sinew that is wax coated. And so wherever I wrap my sinew a couple of times, pull it really tight until the sinew locks down on itself, underneath that line, that area is going to remain white, giving me some definition lines. It's fairly common for people to contact me and tell me that they're not able to get their sinew tight enough to leave definition lines. And if you're having that problem, my first question is, do you have a sinew puller? You know, I always used to just use my roll of sinew, wrap it around, and then pull using the roll of sinew. And part of the time I would get great lines, part of the time I wouldn't, and I never knew what was wrong. Well, there's too much give in a roll of sinew. You really need a sinew puller. It doesn't have to be a fancy one like I have. I have a couple of them. I have a wooden one, which I purchased from Nikolai Savin, who I contacted through Facebook. And then I have one that is a 3D printed one, which I purchased from Boredom with Jen. I'll leave a link down below in the description for this video to Boredom with Jen's website. They have a lot of different like caddies and sinew pullers out there. But I have seen people use tart tampers, large sticks, screwdrivers, dowel rods, all kinds of stuff for sinew pullers. And if it works and it's sturdy and it won't break, that's great. You just need something that fits well to your hand and you can pull to get that sinew super tight. Then the next thing I always tell them is make sure when you wrap your sinew, you wrap the sinew around and on top of itself a couple of times before you begin pulling. To get a nice good definition line, that sinew needs to be wrapped on top of itself and pulled down as tightly as you can pull it. I pull until I can't pull anymore. You know, sometimes the sinew does break, but that's pretty rare. You'll get the feel of how much you have to pull before the sinew breaks, but where you still get the really good definition lines. Once I've tied as many geodes on the shirt as I want on the shirt, I'm going to place some definition lines in between the geodes. There's not a whole lot of space, but I'd like to have a few lines there, so I'm going to run my sinew into that area and tie just a couple of definition lines. As I'm tying those lines, I'm also kind of trying to press my geodes down a little bit flatter. It will make it easier to apply the dye later if my geodes are laying flat. So I'm going to twist them just a little bit and get them as flat as possible. Then I'm going to place the shirt aside and allow it to dry out completely. I like to dye geodes when they're completely dry. And if you have a question about that, I have a blog post out on my website that explains that topic in a little bit more detail. Basically, I like to apply the dye dry to thick folds like this because I get better color saturation in the center of the fold. I have a link down below in the description for this video to my website where you can see my tie-dye blog. I have lots of different blog topics out there, and if you have a suggestion for something you'd like to know a little bit more about, just either drop me an email or a comment down below. So to dye the geode, I've placed it down inside of a metal colander that I have that is adjustable, and I've placed the adjustable colander over the top of a plastic tub or tote. Because the shirt is completely dry, I'm going to go ahead and lightly spray some soda ash solution, which I have in a spray bottle, over the top of the shirt. That'll help the dye to stick a little bit better. I like to get inspiration from real stones whenever I make geodes, and so I was looking online and I found a Shattuckite stone, which I thought was really cool. It had some blues and teals, kind of turquoisey colors, a little bit of gray. Anyway, if I had rights to that photo, I would show it, but I don't, so I can't put a picture of it up here. But you can probably Google Shattuckite and find kind of what I'm talking about. So I've chosen a whole bunch of different colors to use. Some of them are special order colors from Dharma, and the special order colors can usually be purchased at a Facebook group called Tie-Dye Supplies Marketplace. And I'll leave a link to that Facebook group down below in the description for this video. You can sometimes purchase them at Dharma, but you have to buy larger quantities. I have also used one color that is a muck dye from 2024 that Dharma offered in the spring, and that color is probably no longer available, but you can just substitute another color or just leave it out. I'm using a lot of colors, so I'm going to go ahead and give them to you, but I also have them listed down below in case you kind of lose track. The muck dye that's probably no longer available is Stonehenge from Dharma. Then I'm using Sleet Gray and Bracken, as well as Tropical Dream, which are all the special order colors from Dharma. I'm also using shiitake mushroom, khaki, royal blue, Grecian sea, azure blue, jade, sea glass, and celadon, which are Dharma colors. The only non-Dharma color that I'm using is seashell blue from Grateful Dyes. When I'm applying the dye, I'm not really applying the dye just to each individual section that was formed by the sinew. I found that it's kind of fun to sometimes apply the dye in between the sinew sections, like right on the sinew, or split the sinew section and use a couple of colors in that section. Like I said, the more random it looks, I think the better. And by the way, I'm sorry that my video camera was losing focus. I know this time of year I get flies or little flying things into my dye space, and the camera tries to focus on those instead of what I'm doing. So I apologize. Also, because I placed this shirt down inside of this colander, I chose not to make an ice barrier. I know I'm losing some dye down below, and if you wanted to make a pair of socks that sort of match the shirt, this would be a great opportunity to tie those socks up and stick them down below this shirt and allow some of the excess dye to fall onto the socks. Then they would also just muck dye down in the muck as the shirt was processing. Which, by the way, if you're wondering what that term muck means, it is the runoff from the melting ice that's mixed with the dye. Okay, so once I have all of the dye on the shirt, I'm going to apply a little bit of additional dry soda ash to the top of the dye and then add on some ice. My ice has been sitting in my freezer for a little while, so the chunks are a little bit larger and not very easy to break up. I'm also going to go ahead and add some larger ice cubes that I've made in some silicone ice molds. Then over the top of all of the ice, I'm going to add a Dharma color called ecru. Ecru is a pretty light color. It kind of, I guess you would call it like a beigey or taupe type color, but very light. I use it to kind of fill in any gaps and give a little bit of depth to my geode. After the first layer of ice melted, I came back and I added a second layer of ice, but I added it with larger chunks of ice. So what you're seeing is ice down inside of containers that I've made, and the ice wouldn't come out of the containers, so I just put the containers on top of the shirt as well. After that second layer of ice melted, I left the shirt outside and allowed it to process in the heat. I think it was about 90 degrees that day. I left it for close to 18 hours before I took it inside and I began rinsing it in cold water to rinse out the soda ash. After rinsing in cold for a while, I warmed my water up to hot and I continued rinsing in hot water to try to rinse out the excess dye that didn't bond with the fabric. I untied the shirt, and then blues tend to be one of the colors that I find the hardest to rinse out. So instead of just rinsing in really hot water for a long time, I ran some hot water in my utility sink, added a little bit of Blue Dawn dish detergent to the water, and allowed the shirt to soak. When the water cooled off, I changed it out and I continued that soaking process until my water was remaining almost clear. It did take a while, but it finally got there. Then I placed the shirt along with some Dharma's professional textile detergent into my washing machine and I washed it using a hot water cycle. Okay, so I've washed, dried, and ironed the shirt, and let's see what it looks like. Okay, so what do you guys think? I think this one looks really cool. It doesn't look exactly like the Shattuckite stone that I saw, but I actually think this one has a little bit more depth of color. And I love the colors together. I think they look gorgeous. I love all the different dye splits and, the kind of watercolor effect in certain areas. I just think this shirt is beautiful. And I definitely love the centers of all my geodes. If you look at those, every one looks very unique. You know, they're double centers, triple centers in some of them. Just really cool and unusual shapes to the geodes and to the centers. Like I said, that really, in my opinion, is a lot easier to get unusual geodes like this when you start tying from the outer portion going inside. If you start from the center and you're going out, it is so easy to make it look like a bullseye. You know, the fabric just kind of falls naturally and it falls perfectly and it just ends up looking like a bullseye, which is a great design, but not if you're wanting a geode. So I really love this shirt and I think it turned out looking gorgeous. But what do you guys think? Please drop me some comments down below and let me know. And if you enjoyed the video, I sure would appreciate it if you would like it and if you'd subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you'll hit the bell, you'll receive a notification whenever I upload a new video. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a great day.